I'm curious to see what they can do.
Right off the bat, I am seeing 3 large pulse lasers and a Gauss rifle. Both of those Kodiak 2s. That's an interesting
Interesting, yeah.
build, but I kind of like it. It kind of reminds me of the Timberwolf builds with the Gauss dual large
Large,
pulse
yeah.
lasers. So
And the
that should
Clan
be
Large
exciting.
Pulse is a very strong weapon right now.
Trying to see, okay, they got the right shoulder Gauss, and then it's an ASIM build with those large pulses up there on the left side. Where's the other large pulse? Is it on the thumb? I have to see.
Just taking a look at RCGB right here, and they have brought a Party Crow 12 small pulse lasers, one of my favorite builds to run on the Storm Crow. It is just outrageously fun once you get close range.
Oh,
And
you
a
know
dual
what? I see
PC
it.
Shadow Cat actually as well. It's also been a pretty fun mech to see on Canyon Network with all these hills and valleys.
It actually has a center torso, I believe, belly button large pulse laser on the Kodiak 2. So 2 arm mounted, 1 zombie laser, and then of course the shoulder Gauss rifle. So we do have some initial confrontation here going back and forth. SWK jumping up on the right side here.
And that
Basically,
Warhammer 7S is a 3 ER large, 3 medium laser Warhammer. So again, the laser vomit. Someone please tell us what these quirks are on that Warhammer.
Absolutely. So we have a Delta 4 position for RCGB trading across against MS, but I think they're realizing they've got a lot of Gauss and stuff like that, so they're going to make a move and see if they can find a new angle to hit here. Cap advantage currently in favor of SWK, rolling the 3-2, but they actually just reverted Epsilon back now, and so it will flip immediately back. Tickets are actually exactly equal, but it will switch back to the RCGB side. And so we've had a little bit of a rotation, yeah. So during these longer range trades, it'll be interesting to see who wins on those. They've got a Timberwolf up top, just taking some shots to toss the Gauss downfield, but I don't know if he really connected very much with it. The Lights have been staying with their groups for the most part. Got some trailing Jenners in the back, and the Arctic Cheetahs are actually running ahead of the pack for RCGB, basically going for the cap. So we're having this dance around Theta, with Theta being in control of RCGB, and it looks like they're going to challenge it. Wolfish, which I believe is the team leader, is popping up to try and
Wolfish
get a
actually
cap.
is not the team leader.
Oh, he's not?
Yeah, it's Antonius Rex.
Ah, yes. I knew that.
These Kodiak 2s have jump jets. I did not know that.
So Wolfish did take quite a bit of extra fire here, and he's actually getting hit on the cross. He's running in a parallel, but he is taking some hits, and it really was just chased off of Theta, and now Cap's going heavily in favor of RCGB. So they got to be careful with that. They are back capping Gamma right now, but they can't sustain this for too much longer. Eventually, SWK is going to be forced to make a move. And that is why we watch Conquest, ladies and gentlemen. It isn't all about the dance to control points necessarily. It is all about forcing your opponent to make a move, and that is exactly what we're going to see. SWK losing the initial map control is going to make them have to move into a less favorable position in order to put pressure on RCGB. A lot of damage flying back and forth. Nobody critically injured yet, but we're seeing a lot of armor on the field.
Absolutely.
Just melted off right now. 94, 74, 88, 72 on RCGB side, and almost a mirror on the other side. SWK faring pretty decently, but Wolfish down to 66% now. Every time he's been traversing, he's taking a little bit more damage. It's all spread, but his left torso is about to be open, and so he needs to be a little bit more careful with that armor, because he's going to need that at the end, especially against like the Arctic Cheetahs. Can't be going up against fresh Arctic Cheetahs and expect to get away with it. Do have a strike in on the right side. It looks like it just missed. So
I think it missed everybody.
Seeing the smoke and backing away, and it looks like we might have a little bit of a light versus light fight on the side here. They don't know they're each other here. I think Wolfish is watching the seismic, but here we go. Arctic Cheetahs versus Jenner 2Cs. Who's gonna fare? They are chasing that cheetah down
Arctic
and just
Cheetah lost an arm
wailing
right
on
now.
him. Wolfish is not in too good of shape, but those initial SRM volleys really put a lot of pain into that cheetah, and they are giving chase. So since the cheetah is not able to return fire right now, this is all free damage, but they got to watch out for that overwatch on the right side. Wolfish bravely moving in on the right flank and just just barely getting away with it.
He really wants that kill.
He
Oh,
really
and he
does, but
misses the shot.
they can't chase him too much longer. If they continue to chase, they're gonna walk right into an ambush. It looks to me like SWK has used this distraction as a way to move up, but they've moved up into the low grounds.
Wolf is just overheated, and he gets away with it right as the Shadowhawk comes around, or the Shadowcat comes around the corner looking at him.
So they've moved, SWK has moved up into brawl range now. They're trading at pretty close range, about mid-rangey right now, but RCGB, their Shadowcat and their Kodiak 3 are the most critically injured, and their Black Knight. So I think at SWK, if they can start getting some really good focus fire here, could start dropping some of these mechs relatively quick, but they're being very passive because they're hurt themselves. At this point, the caps are not really a concern. RCGB is up pretty well, but I think SWK could potentially run in and start to get
SWK's got to
some
be
kills
careful.
here.
That Party Crow can be really painful if they don't focus him down at that close range.
That Party Crow, though,
And they do
stepping
get
up
him
that
down.
close, that was not the best decision there. He kind of threw his mech away, trying to get something, but now with one mech down, it looks
Here
like
goes
SWK is
Timberwolf
gonna
around
come
the
in.
corner a little too early for MS, I think, but he got away with it. They
Man.
need to keep putting the pressure on here.
We do have an Arctic Cheetah dealing some damage in the backfield, but 2 dead for RCGB. SWK is on the prowl. They're moving up, but they are so hurt themselves. This is insane how damaged both teams are, but it looks like SWK is landing their shots better.
Yeah, they are landing their shots very well
They're
right
doing
now. It
really
looks like
good
they've got the
keeping their
advantage.
guys alive. The amount of cored out mechs on the SWK side, the fact that they are getting away with this is impressive. They're keeping their mechs safe, and only one mech, the Arctic Cheetah, remains. And wow,
Down he goes.
that was really well played by SWK. Like, look at their
very
percentages. 57, 63, 54, 61, 47, 60, and 21 on that Jenner. The Jenner Wolfish keeping it alive all the way to the end. He's got to be like hobbling around right now. I've even have him on my screen. He is. Look at his paper doll.
Just not a lot of armor left on that mech, is there?
Nah, the legs especially. They were going for those legs, but I'm incredibly impressed with SWK's ability to keep those mechs alive, rotate them out as they get critically injured, and at the end, just really making the shots, the tight corner shots, to get the kills where they needed to be. Well played by SWK, but that was a lot closer than the scoreboard says. It really was.
It was very close. I just did a quick tour of all of the SWK mechs. Every single one of them had cord components, and they were important cord components. CTs, side torsos, legs on lights, those things that really make the difference between winning and losing. Just a great job, like you said, spreading the damage.
And those dual Jenners chasing those Arctic Cheetahs out, dealing a lot of damage. They didn't get the kill necessarily, but they dealt a lot of damage. They didn't take a lot of return damage, and Wolfish just bravely just charging forward and getting away with it really worked in his favor. They were able to put a lot of extra damage downfield on those Cheetahs and essentially took them out of the fight. But good damage from both teams. Obviously,
Absolutely.
SWK's damage seems to be more up in the 400s for the most part, but the Warhammer 7S and the Kodiak for RCGB pulling 500 apiece. If only they had a little bit more help from the rest of their team. That Stormcrow at the end, I don't think that was the right move to boldly charge up in there.
A little too soon.
Now, SWK had a lot of really cored out mechs, but if he's going to come in hard on that left side, he needs to be able to put that damage in and get those kills, but he didn't come away with anything and ended up just being essentially mauled down 6 versus 1. And it wasn't... I understand why he did it, because obviously they felt like they could get some of those sneak kills, and if he can walk in there and just kill, that could have easily have flipped this in the other direction, but unfortunately didn't connect where he needed to, and ended up getting mauled down, and that alone could have meant the difference between a win or a loss. And they were doing really well on their tickets. You know, RCGB playing a lot more of the cap game, and it was rolling in their favor, but they needed to find a way to extend the fight out a lot longer, and being able to connect on the Jenner 2Cs is another big thing. The fact that Wolfish was able to get away with that, and some of it, Wolfish was being extremely bold and running right out in the open, and they could not connect with their ballistics, and a spitball could have killed him at the end, and they
Yeah.
just couldn't bring him down. And I'm sure he did quite a bit of work, either through damage alone or just in general, forcing the map control, forcing those cheetahs out. If they would have connected and killed him, it could have meant a completely different outcome. So there's a lot of things in this game that I think both teams could probably have improved on, but in the end, RCGB just too many mistakes stacking up. If they fixed any of them, it could have flipped the other way. But it really was close. The scoreboard doesn't reflect that.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
with the amount of cord mechs out there, it gets down to when both teams are that cord out, it's whoever has that split-second Counter-Strike style, getting the pixel on the pixel first. That's where it starts getting down into that level and making those shots and working out those final kills. So we'll take a look at the map here real quick and see their generalized movement. We did have, I believe we had a little bit of a tour at the beginning, right? So we sent, I think it was Epsilon and then Kappa, right? Did this start out with the tour?
There's a little bit of tour.
Okay, and then I think they came back around into Theta, and then RCGB opted for the typical defensive setup here. I think they went actually all the way back here.
Yeah, I think they were closer towards Epsilon at the end there.
Yeah, so then they had their lights over in Kappa, and that's where that skirmish happened with the lights essentially chasing them out and all the way around, up on top even, and just they couldn't connect with their long-range shots where it needed to be to take out those Gen 2Cs and help their cheetahs out. The cheetahs, when they're on a retreat like that, they can't turn around and shoot when they're completely sprinting away. If they attempt to shoot... Oh, my thing says Americas again. Jesus.
Oh, boy, what a mess.
Amateur hour. All right. So, at least I'm not drawing on my face. You know...
For now.
The cheetahs are just in a full retreat, so every single SRM that hits them is a bonus, as long as
Bonus
the Jenners
damage,
aren't
yeah.
taking hits from the teammates. So that needed to happen. And then ultimately, we had our charge. While the light skirmish was going on, and while RCGB was distracted with trying to land some shots on those lights, we had a drop down and then essentially a stab right through the middle for SWK, and then curved in. And the fight happened in this region right here. And so that Crow came down dangerously up from the side and got caught out. But that was a pretty intense firefight and really came down just to those split-second landing your shots.
Yeah, and I agree with you about that Crow. I think if he could have landed a couple of precision shots on some open components, he would have made a huge difference in that match. Unfortunately, it just didn't seem like he got the shots that he was looking for.
Yeah, and it's hard to say when you're going up against 6 opponents like that, how do you prioritize your targets? Who do you shoot first? And did he make the right choice? Obviously, I would say no, but there could have been a mech that he could have just looked at and would have died, but maybe prioritizing the wrong targets there and got himself killed and didn't really lend much to his team. But yeah, that was an intense, close match. Very fun to watch. But SWK with MS RedShirts comes out on top against RCGB. Well played to both teams, though.
Yeah,
And
it
it
was
was
a good
very, very, very thrilling to watch. So we will jump back to the break here, and then we will be back for drop 4 of the day. So hopefully find some more fun videos for you guys to watch. But see you guys in a little bit.